The silence of dawn shattered as emergency lights flashed across Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven's pristine walls. Dr. Mark Anderson's hands trembled as he dialed emergency services, his eyes fixed on the extraordinary scene before him. What started as a routine German Shepherd birth had just become something that would shake their quiet town to its core. In his 15 years of veterinary practice, he'd never encountered anything like this. And now he had no choice but to alert the authorities. The question that would haunt this community for months to come: how did a military-trained German Shepherd end up in their shelter? And why were her puppies carrying something that could change everything? Before we dive into this incredible story, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. If you're watching this, share where you're joining us from in the comments below. Your support helps us bring more amazing true stories like this one to light. The morning had started like any other in Riverbrook Valley, a sleepy town nestled against the misty mountains of the Pacific Northwest. Dr. Mark Anderson stood at the entrance of Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven, his new workplace of just 3 months. The crisp spring air carried the scent of pine and promise of a fresh start, away from the memories of his failed marriage and the bustling city life he'd left behind. The shelter's automatic doors whispered open, welcoming him into the familiar symphony of morning barks and meows. Jennifer Martinez, the shelter manager everyone called Jenny, was already at her desk, her dark curls falling across her face as she sorted through the night report. "Morning, Mark," she called out, her voice carrying a note of urgency that made him pause. "You'll want to see this right away." Jenny led him to the isolation ward, where they kept their special cases. Through the observation window, he saw her, a magnificent German Shepherd with intelligent eyes and a distinctive bearing that spoke of professional training. "Found near Pine Ridge State Park last night," Jenny explained, pulling up the intake form on her tablet. "No chip, no collar, but look at how she responds to commands. Officer Mitchell thinks she might be military trained." Mark observed the dog's behavior carefully. Every movement was precise, controlled, far from the typical stray they encountered. But what caught his attention wasn't her training. It was the subtle way she favored her left side and the unmistakable swelling of her abdomen. "She's pregnant," he announced, already reaching for his examination gloves, "and close to term." Kevin Thompson, their lead animal care technician, joined them with the morning medications. His usual cheerful demeanor sobered as he watched the German Shepherd. "There's something else, Doc," he said, pulling up a video on his phone. "Watch how she reacts to certain sounds." The video showed the dog responding to what seemed like military commands, but in a language Mark didn't recognize. Her reactions were flawless, almost mechanical in their precision. "Have you contacted local bases?" Mark asked, but Jenny was already shaking her head. "Officer Mitchell checked last night. No reports of missing military dogs in the entire state. It's like she appeared out of nowhere." Mark spent the morning examining their mysterious guest, whom the staff had started calling Luna for the distinctive crescent mark on her chest. Her pregnancy was progressing well, but something about her blood work results made him frown. There were anomalies he couldn't explain, values that didn't align with any normal canine parameters he'd seen before. The shelter's usual bustle continued. Around them, Emily Parker, their most dedicated volunteer, arrived with her homemade dog treats. Mike O'Brien coordinated the daily walking schedule with his team of volunteers. Sarah Collins from the local news dropped by, ostensibly to cover their upcoming adoption event, but her reporter's instincts were clearly piqued by the whispers about their unusual new resident. As Mark updated Luna's medical charts, Officer Laura Mitchell appeared in his office doorway, her K9 unit experience evident in the way she studied the German Shepherd through the observation window. "Those blood results you sent over," she said quietly, They match some patterns we've seen in classified military working dog programs. But here's the thing, those programs were supposedly discontinued years ago. The implications of her words hung heavy in the air, interrupted only by Jenny's urgent call from the isolation ward. "Mark, she's going into labor." What happened next would change everything. As Mark rushed to prepare for the birth, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to uncover something much bigger than a stray military dog. Little did he know, the real mystery was only beginning. And soon, he would have to make a choice that would put everything on the line. Luna's labor progressed rapidly, her training evident in how quietly she handled the pain. Mark worked with practiced efficiency, Jenny and Kevin assisting, as they'd done countless times before. But as the first puppy emerged, Mark's professional composure cracked. "That's impossible," he whispered, his medical training warring with what his eyes were telling him. The tiny puppy in his hands seemed to glow faintly in the dim light of the isolation ward. And there, clearly visible through its still wet fur, was something that made his blood run cold. Kevin saw it too, his face paling as he reached for his phone. "I'm calling Officer Mitchell back," he said, his voice shaking. "She needs to see this." Jenny's hand gripped Mark's shoulder. "There are more coming," she warned, as Luna's contractions intensified. Whatever secrets this German Shepherd carried, they were about to be revealed, one puppy at a time. Mark's mind raced through possibilities, each more incredible than the last. In all his years of veterinary medicine, nothing had prepared him for this moment. As he reached for his phone to document everything, he realized their quiet little shelter was about to become the center of a story that would captivate the world. The next few hours would bring revelations that would challenge everything they thought they knew about military animal programs, genetic research, and the lengths. Some would go to keep their secrets buried. But for now, in the sterile quiet of the isolation ward, Mark could only watch and wait as Luna brought her extraordinary puppies into the world, one miraculous birth at a time. To find out what Dr. Anderson discovered that made him call the police, and how these remarkable puppies would change Riverbrook Valley forever, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. Drop a comment letting us know what you think Mark found, and stay tuned for the next part of this incredible true story. Officer Laura Mitchell's police cruiser tore through the empty streets of Riverbrook Valley, emergency lights cutting through the pre-dawn mist. The urgent call from Kevin still echoed in her mind, something about luminescent puppies and strange markings. In 15 years of law enforcement, including her time in the K9 unit, she'd never heard anything like it. She'd assumed Kevin was exhausted from the overnight shift, seeing things in the dim light of the isolation ward. But Dr. Anderson's follow-up call, his voice tight with controlled tension, told her this was something entirely different. The animal shelter's parking lot was empty, except for the staff vehicles, their windows pearled with morning dew. Laura pulled up beside Mark's weathered Subaru, noticing his silhouette pacing behind the shelter's front windows. The automatic doors hummed open, releasing a burst of warm air carrying the familiar shelter scents, disinfectant pet food, and the underlying musk of countless animals. But today, something else charged the atmosphere. Fear, excitement, she couldn't quite name it. Mark met her at the entrance, his usually neat appearance disheveled from hours of monitoring the birth. His blue scrubs bore evidence of his work, and dark circles shadowed his eyes. But it was the look on his face that made Laura's police instincts surge to attention. She'd seen that look before, on witnesses who'd observed something that defied explanation. "Thanks for coming so quickly," he said, leading her through the quiet corridor toward the isolation ward. "I needed someone with your background to verify. What we're seeing, Jenny's documenting everything, and Kevin's monitoring the security feeds." His voice dropped lower. "We're keeping this contained for now. The last thing we need is panic." The isolation ward's observation window revealed Luna, the German shepherd, resting peacefully with her newborn puppies. At first glance, everything appeared normal. A tired mother with her litter, clean and properly cared for. Then Luna shifted, and in the dim light, Laura saw it. Her sharp intake of breath made Mark nod grimly. "So you see it too," he whispered. "Watch when I adjust the lighting." He dimmed the overhead lights, and the truth became undeniable. Each puppy emitted a subtle, pulsing bioluminescence, barely visible in normal light, but unmistakable in darkness. But it wasn't just the glow that defied explanation. Along their spines, barely visible through their infant fur, ran lines of what appeared to be metallic filaments, catching and reflecting light like fiber optic threads. 7 puppies total, Mark reported, his clinical tone betraying his attempt to maintain professional distance. All showing the same characteristics. Initial health checks indicate they're otherwise normal. Strong heartbeats, good weight. Proper reflexes, except... He hesitated, glancing at his notes. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Their body temperature runs 2 degrees higher than standard, and their blood work shows anomalies I've never encountered. Laura stepped closer to the window, her mind racing through her years of experience with military working dogs. "The mother's training responses," she began, connecting dots she wished she could ignore. "They match protocols I've seen in experimental enhancement programs that were supposedly shut down due to ethical concerns." Jenny appeared with fresh medical charts, her usual cheerful demeanor subdued. "I've cross-referenced every database we have access to," she reported. "Nothing even comes close to explaining this, but I did find something interesting about where Luna was found." She pulled up a map on her tablet, indicating a remote area near Pine Ridge State Park. "This location, it's less than 5 miles from an abandoned research facility, one that, according to property records, was purchased 6 months ago by a private military contractor." The implications hung heavy in the air. Laura pulled out her phone, scrolling through contacts until she found the number she needed. "I have a friend in military intelligence," she explained. "Someone who might be able to shed light on this. But first..." She raised her camera, carefully documenting the scene. "We need to establish a chain of evidence. Whatever's happening here, it's bigger than a simple stray dog case." Mark's office became their impromptu command center. Kevin brought in coffee, while Jenny organized their observations into a coherent timeline. Laura made calls, her face growing more serious with each conversation. Outside, the shelter began stirring to life as early staff arrived, unaware of the situation unfolding in isolation. "Here's what we know," Laura finally said, spreading her notes across Mark's desk. "The facility near where Luna was found? It's officially listed as a storage site for military archives. But satellite imagery shows recent construction, heavy security, and power consumption consistent with an active research installation." My contact couldn't tell me more, or wouldn't, but his silence spoke volumes. Mark leaned back in his chair, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "So what are we dealing with here? Genetic experimentation? Some kind of biological enhancement program?" "Whatever it is," Jenny interjected, "Luna escaped from somewhere. And given her condition, her pregnancy, I'm betting it wasn't part of their plan." A sharp knock interrupted their discussion. Sarah Collins, the local reporter, stood in the doorway, her journalist's intuition having clearly brought her to the shelter earlier than usual. "Sorry to interrupt," she said, though her expression suggested she wasn't sorry at all. "But there's someone here asking about a missing German shepherd, 2 men in suits. They're very insistent." Laura moved to the security feed while Mark and Jenny exchanged glances. The monitor showed two figures in the reception area, expensive suits, military bearing, and the kind of practice casualness that set off every alarm in Laura's law enforcement training. "Keep them there," Laura instructed Sarah. "I'll handle this." She turned to Mark and Jenny. "Lock down the isolation ward. No one goes in or out without my authorization. And Kevin?" The young technician looked up from his monitoring position. "Start backing up all our documentation. Everything, now." The morning sun had barely cleared the mountains, but already Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven found itself at the center of what felt increasingly like a conspiracy. As Laura strode toward the reception area, she could feel the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Whatever secrets Luna and her extraordinary puppies represented, someone wanted them badly enough to track them here. Mark watched Laura leave, then turned back to the isolation ward window. Luna met his gaze with intelligent eyes that seemed to hold their own secrets. One of the puppies stirred, its gentle glow pulsing like a heartbeat in the dim light. He thought about his decision to leave his city practice, seeking a quieter life in this small town. Now, watching Jenny and Kevin work to protect their unusual charges, he realized quiet wasn't always synonymous with simple. Sarah lingered in the doorway, her reporter's notebook already in hand. "Those men," she said softly, "they're not just asking about Luna. They're asking about the staff too, about who was on duty last night, who had access to the isolation ward." Her implication was clear. This wasn't just about finding a missing dog. The shelter's morning. Routine continued around them, a normal day's rhythm masking the extraordinary events unfolding in their midst. Emily Parker arrived with her usual volunteer group, their cheerful chatter carrying down the hallway. Mike O'Brien began his rounds, checking on the overnight animals, and in the isolation ward, Luna tended to her remarkable puppies, unaware of the storm gathering around them. Jenny's computer chimed with an incoming email. Her sharp intake of breath drew Mark's attention. "You need to see this," she said, turning the screen. The message was brief, but its implications were staggering. It contained a single image, a classified document header regarding something called Project Luminous Guardian, and two words: "Be careful." The sender's address was already defunct when Jenny tried to reply, but the warning was clear. They weren't just dealing with missing military property or unauthorized experiments. They were standing at the edge of something that powerful people wanted to keep hidden. Laura's voice crackled over their staff radio. "Mark, we have a situation. Up front, these gentlemen have documentation requiring us to surrender any strays matching their description. I need you to verify their paperwork." Mark straightened his lab coat, aware that his next actions could change everything. He glanced at Jenny, who nodded and began implementing their hastily formed contingency plan. Kevin disappeared into the shelter's maze of back rooms, his tasks clear. And Sarah, she slipped away quietly, her phone already in hand, preparing to be their voice if everything went wrong. The morning sun climbed higher over Riverbrook Valley, its light catching the shelter's windows like fire. Inside, a veterinarian, a shelter manager, and a police officer stood as the last line of defense between extraordinary puppies and those who would claim them. The quiet town's peaceful routine continued outside, unaware that within its shelter's walls, a story of military secrets, genetic mysteries, and moral choices was about to explode into the light. The question wasn't just about what these puppies were or where they came from. It was about what was right, what was ethical, and who would stand up to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. As Mark walked toward the reception area, he realized some questions answer themselves simply by needing to be asked. Whatever Luna and her puppies represented, they were in his care. And in Riverbrook Valley, that meant something. The security door clicked shut behind him, sealing the isolation ward and its luminescent secrets away from prying eyes. For now, at least, They had choices to make and truths to uncover. The real question was, how far would they go to protect something they didn't yet understand? Through it all, Luna watched with those knowing eyes, her puppies glowing softly in the shadows of their secure ward, their very existence challenging everything everyone thought they knew about the boundaries. Between natural and artificial, between military assets and living beings worthy of protection, the next few hours would test not just their resolve, but their understanding of what it meant to do what was right in a world where truth often hid in the shadows. The fluorescent lights of Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven's reception area cast harsh shadows across the polished floor as Mark approached the two men in suits. Their presence seemed to drain the warmth from the usually welcoming space, replacing it with an atmosphere of barely contained tension. The taller visitor's badge read Thomas Reed, Department of Defense, while his companions simply stated James Cooper, Consultant. Officer Laura Mitchell stood between them and the corridor leading to isolation, her stance casual, but her hand resting near her service weapon. The morning light streaming through the front windows caught the silver in her hair, and for a moment, Mark was struck by how this small-town shelter had become the stage for what felt increasingly like a high-stakes confrontation. "Dr. Anderson," Reed spoke first, his voice carrying the practiced smoothness of someone used to getting his way. "We appreciate your dedication to animal welfare, but this is a matter of national security." He slid a document folder across. The reception counter, the Department of Defense seal glinting on its cover. "We're here to recover specialized military assets." Mark picked up the folder, aware of Jenny watching from her office doorway and Kevin hovering near the security monitors. The paperwork looked legitimate. Requisition orders, transportation authorizations, even veterinary transfer forms. But something caught his eye: the dates. All the documents were dated yesterday, hours after Luna had been found. "These are very thorough," Mark said carefully, channeling the professional detachment he'd learned during his years in emergency veterinary medicine. "However, as I'm sure you're aware, we have strict protocols for releasing animals in our care, especially," he paused, meeting Reed's steely gaze, "when they've just given birth." Cooper stepped forward, his movement suggesting military training, beneath the civilian suit. "Doctor, with all due respect, you don't understand what you're dealing with. That animal and her offspring are part of a classified program. Their presence here poses risks you can't comprehend." Laura shifted slightly, drawing their attention. "Interesting choice of words," she said, her former K-9 unit experience evident in her confident tone. "Risks implies you know something specific about these puppies. Care to elaborate on that for the record?" The visitors exchanged glances, a silent communication that spoke volumes. Reed's pleasant facade cracked slightly, revealing something harder beneath. "We're not at liberty to discuss classified details, but I assure you this isn't a request. We have authorization to take custody immediately." Sarah Collins chose that moment to emerge from the shelter's community room, press credentials displayed prominently. "Would you mind if I asked a few questions about this authorization?" she inquired innocently, phone already recording. "The public has a right to know about military operations in civilian facilities." Reed's expression darkened. "This conversation is over. Cooper, call it. We'll do this the other way." He reached for his phone, but Laura's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Before you make that call," she said, producing her own documentation, "you might want to see this." She laid out several papers, including satellite images, of the abandoned research facility and property records. Fascinating reading, especially the part about unauthorized genetic experimentation in civilian areas. I wonder what the Oversight Committee would make of that. The morning bustle of the shelter continued around them, volunteers arriving, animals being fed, phones ringing with routine inquiries. But in the reception area, time seemed to stand still as Reed studied the documents, his jaw tightening. Cooper's hand had drifted toward his jacket, prompting Laura to step closer to him, her own intent clear. "Here's what's going to happen," Laura continued, her voice low but firm. "You're going to leave now. Any further attempts to access this facility or contact our staff will be documented and reported. We have evidence of everything, secured, in multiple locations. If anything happens to these animals or any of our people, it all goes public." Jenny appeared with a stack of additional papers, medical records, intake forms, photographs of Luna's unusual markings and her puppies' distinctive features. "We've documented everything," she added, her usual warmth replaced by professional steel. "Multiple copies, multiple locations, dead man's switch protocols in place." Reed's facade finally cracked completely. "You have no idea what you're interfering with," he hissed. "This isn't about one dog or a litter of puppies. There are implications here that affect national security. Do you really want that responsibility?" Mark stepped forward, placing himself between Reed and the corridor to isolation. "What I want," he said quietly, "is to ensure the well-being of every animal in my care. That's my responsibility. If there are larger implications, they don't override our ethical obligations. You want to discuss this further? Come back with proper documentation and transparency. Until then, we're done here." The morning sun had climbed higher, casting long rectangles of light across the reception area floor. In one of these bright spaces, Sarah stood recording everything, while Emily Parker and her volunteer group watched wide-eyed from the community room doorway. The regular shelter routine had ground to a halt, everyone sensing the gravity of the moment. Cooper moved first, touching Reed's arm lightly. They exchanged another look, this one carrying resignation. "This isn't over," Reed said finally, straightening his tie. "You're playing with forces you don't understand. When things go wrong, and they will, remember you were warned." They left as they had arrived, professionally and without fuss. But their departure didn't ease the tension in the air. If anything, it crystallized the reality of their situation. Mark turned to Laura, who was already on her phone, documenting the encounter. "We need to move fast," she said, covering the mouthpiece. "They'll be back with more authority, better paperwork. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with before that happens." Jenny was already mobilizing their resources. "I've contacted Dr. Patricia Chen at the university's genetics lab. She's willing to analyze blood samples off the record. And Mike's sister works for a senator's office. She might be able to help us navigate the bureaucracy." Kevin appeared from the security office, tablet in hand. "You need to see this," he said urgently. "I've been analyzing the security footage from when Luna first arrived. There's something strange about her behavior patterns, and those marks on her fur, they're not random. They form a pattern, some kind of code." Mark looked through the isolation ward window at Luna and her extraordinary puppies. The morning light caught their subtle glow, making them seem almost ethereal. One puppy lifted its head, eyes not yet open, and emitted a soft whimper that seemed to pulse with its bioluminescence. Sarah approached, cautiously, her reporter's instincts warring with her sense of responsibility. "What do you want me to do with this?" she asked, holding up her phone with its recording of the confrontation. "This is huge. Military experiments, glowing puppies, shadowy officials making threats. The public should know." "Not yet," Mark decided, his mind racing through possibilities. "But keep the recording safe. We may need it as leverage." He turned to Laura. "How long do you think we have?" She shook her head grimly. "Hours, maybe. They'll regroup, contact their superiors, come back with whatever authorization they need. We need to understand what we're protecting before they do." The shelter's morning soundtrack continued, dogs barking, cats meowing, volunteers chatting as they went about their duties. But underneath it all ran a new current of urgency. Every minute counted now. Jenny organized their next steps with characteristic efficiency. Kevin, start analyzing that code you found. Sarah, we need your research skills. Dig into that research. Facilities history, but quietly. Emily, your group knows everyone in town. We need eyes watching for anything unusual. Mike, get your sister on the phone. We need to know our legal options. In the isolation ward, Dr. Patricia Chen arrived with her portable lab equipment. Her expertise in genetic analysis, their best hope for understanding the puppy's unique characteristics. As she set up her equipment, Mark noticed something new. The puppy's glow seemed to synchronize when they were close to each other, creating patterns of light that defied random chance. The next few hours would be crucial. They had to uncover enough about Luna and her puppies to protect them effectively. But with each discovery came new questions, each answer revealing deeper mysteries. The luminescent puppies were more than just genetic anomalies. They represented something that powerful people wanted to keep hidden. Laura's phone buzzed with messages from her military intelligence contact, cryptic warnings about Project Luminous Guardian and references to breakthrough technologies. Jenny's computer continued receiving anonymous tips, each piece adding to a puzzle whose full picture remained tantalizingly out of reach. Mark found himself at the center of it all, a small-town veterinarian suddenly thrust into a world of military, secrets, and ethical dilemmas. He watched Dr. Chen work, her expression growing more amazed with each test result. The puppy's genetic structure was unlike anything in her experience, not just modified, but engineered with a precision that shouldn't have been possible with current technology. Outside the shelter's walls, Riverbrook Valley continued its peaceful routine, unaware of the extraordinary events unfolding in their midst. But within the building, every person involved knew they had crossed a point of no return. Whatever Luna and her puppies represented, they had chosen to protect them. Now, they had to live with the consequences of that choice. The morning aged into afternoon, each minute bringing them closer to the inevitable confrontation to come. But as Mark watched Luna tenderly care for her remarkable offspring, he knew they had made the right decision. Some things were worth protecting, no matter the cost. The question now was, how far would they have to go to keep that promise? Dr. Patricia Chen's eyes widened as she studied the results displayed on her portable genetic sequencer. The isolation ward had transformed into an impromptu laboratory, equipment humming softly as it processed samples from Luna's extraordinary puppies. Outside, the afternoon sun painted long shadows across the shelter's floors, but inside, a different kind of light commanded attention, the gentle rhythmic pulse of bioluminescence emanating from the remarkable litter. "This shouldn't be possible," Patricia murmured, adjusting her glasses as she rechecked the data. Mark and Jenny leaned closer, watching as she pointed to specific sequences on her screen. "Look here. These aren't just genetic modifications. They've somehow managed to integrate synthetic DNA constructs that are responding to external stimuli. The bioluminescence isn't just a trait, it's a communication system." Kevin appeared in the doorway, his tablet displaying complex patterns. He decoded from Luna's unusual markings. "That matches what I've found," he said, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. "The markings on Luna's fur, they're not random. They're a kind of biochemical barcode, but it's evolving, changing in response to the puppy's presence." Laura Mitchell paced near the observation window, her police instincts warring with her scientific curiosity. "So what exactly are we dealing with here? What's the purpose of all this?" She paused, watching as one puppy's glow intensified, triggering a cascade of responsive pulses from its siblings. Patricia manipulated the data display, revealing new layers of complexity. "From what I can tell, they've created a living communication network. Each puppy can receive, process, and transmit information through these bioluminescent patterns." But it's more than that. Their cellular structure shows signs of enhanced healing capabilities, improved cognitive potential, and something else. She trailed off, her expression troubled. "What is it?" Mark prompted, recognizing the look of someone holding back difficult information. "These modifications," Patricia continued carefully, "they're not just affecting the puppies. They're designed to be hereditary, but with controlled expression. Someone wanted to create enhanced beings that could pass on specific traits to future generations, but only under certain conditions. It's brilliant, terrifying, and absolutely illegal under current genetic research laws." Jenny's computer chimed with another anonymous message. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she accessed the encrypted data. "More documentation from our mystery source," she reported. Project Luminous Guardian wasn't just about creating enhanced military animals. They were developing a way to encode and transmit tactical information through living organisms, information that couldn't be intercepted or decoded through conventional means. The implications settled heavily over the room. Sarah Collins, who had been quietly documenting everything from the corner, stepped forward. "So these puppies aren't just genetic experiments. They're living data storage and transmission systems, walking classified databases. That explains the urgency to recover them," Laura mused, her mind connecting dots from her military intelligence contacts' warnings. "If they're carrying sensitive information in their very DNA..." A sharp bark from Luna interrupted their discussion. The German Shepherd had risen to her feet, ears forward, body tense. Through the observation window, they watched as the puppies' glow synchronized into a pattern none of them had seen before. Moments later, the shelter's perimeter alarm pinged softly on Kevin's security tablet. "Movement in the woods behind the exercise yard," he reported, switching to external cameras. "Multiple heat signatures approaching from different directions. They're trying to surround the building." Laura was already moving, her police training taking over. "They're not waiting for paperwork this time. Jenny, start the data upload. Everything we've documented goes to secure servers now. Kevin, initiate lockdown protocols. Dr. Chen, pack only what's irreplaceable. Mark." "I'm staying with my patients," he said firmly, already preparing emergency medical supplies. The others nodded, understanding that the next few hours would test every preparation they'd made. Emily Parker burst into the room, slightly out of breath. Black SUVs just pulled into the north lot. More coming from town. They're blocking the access roads. Behind her, Mike O'Brien was already coordinating with the volunteer network they'd established, ensuring witnesses would be present for whatever happened next. Sarah Collins positioned herself strategically, multiple cameras, running. "Whatever they're planning, it won't happen in darkness. The world will see." The shelter's regular sounds, barking dogs, chattering volunteers, ringing phones, gradually died away as lockdown procedures took effect. In the growing quiet, the soft pulse of the puppy's bioluminescence seemed louder somehow, a rhythm that spoke of mysteries beyond their understanding. Patricia's equipment continued processing data, each new result adding to their understanding of what they faced. "The synchronization is increasing," she observed, watching the puppies' coordinated glow patterns. "It's like they're preparing for something." Luna's readings are changing too. Look at these neural activity spikes. Through the observation window, they watched as Luna gently gathered her puppies closer, her movements deliberate and purposeful. The markings on her fur seemed to shift in the afternoon light, the biochemical barcode evolving into new patterns that Kevin rushed to document. "She's not just protecting them," Jenny realized, watching the display. "She's teaching them. Those patterns, they're like a language." Mark remembered Luna's military training, her precise responses to commands. "Not just a language," he said, slowly. "A mission protocol, Whatever information she's carrying, she's passing it on to them, making sure it survives. Laura's phone buzzed with an urgent message from her military intelligence contact. The text was brief but chilling. Project compromise confirmed. Full containment authorized. Get out now. The afternoon sun caught the shelter's windows, momentarily turning them into mirrors that reflected their own tense faces back at them. Outside, more vehicles arrived, their occupants moving with the coordinated precision of professional operators. The perimeter cameras showed figures in tactical gear moving into position, while others established a wider containment zone. They're not just here for Luna and the puppies, Laura observed grimly. They're here to clean up everyone who knows about them. Everything we've documented, everyone we've told, it's all a liability now. Patricia's equipment chimed with new results, drawing their attention back to the scientific mystery at hand. These latest readings, she said, her voice filled with wonder despite their situation. The puppy's genetic structure, it's not just storing information, it's processing it, evolving it. They're not just carrying classified data, they're analyzing and refining it, growing it into something new. Mark watched through the window as one puppy lifted its head, eyes now open, glowing with an inner light that pulsed in harmony with its siblings. The pattern of their combined bioluminescence had changed again, forming sequences that seemed almost familiar. It's coordinates, Kevin exclaimed suddenly, his tablet displaying decoded patterns. And timestamps. Luna's not just passing on static information, she's giving them navigation data, escape routes, safe house locations, everything they'd need to complete her mission, Laura finished quietly. Whatever it is, whoever she was running from, she's making sure it wasn't in vain. The shelter's sturdy walls suddenly felt very thin against the gathering storm outside. They had discovered something extraordinary, not just enhanced animals, but living proof of breakthrough technologies that could change everything. The question wasn't just about protecting Luna and her puppies anymore. It was about what to do with the knowledge they now possessed. Jenny's computer flashed with another incoming message, this one different from the others. Instead of more leaked documents or warnings, it contained a single image, a satellite view of underground installations spreading like roots beneath the abandoned research facility. Installations that extended far beyond anything they'd imagined, reaching toward the shelter. Patricia breathed, understanding dawning in her eyes. They didn't build their facility near here by accident. There's something underneath us, isn't there? Something connected to all of this. The implications spun out before them like threads in an ever-expanding web. Every answer led to new questions, each revelation suggesting deeper mysteries. And through it all, Luna watched them with those intelligent eyes, her puppies glowing softly beside her, their very existence challenging everything they thought they knew about the boundaries between natural and artificial, between animal and technology, between truth and security. Outside, the containment team tightened their perimeter. Inside, a small group of ordinary people faced extraordinary choices. They had stumbled onto something bigger than themselves, bigger than their quiet town, bigger than they could have imagined. Now, they had to decide, what do you do when the truth itself is both a weapon and a target? A dull vibration shuddered through Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven's foundation, rattling the isolation ward's observation window. Mark pressed his palm against the concrete wall, feeling a rhythmic pulse that had nothing to do with the luminescent puppies. Something was awakening beneath their feet, machinery that had lain dormant for years, spinning back to life. Patricia Chen's portable equipment registered the disturbance, screens flickering with electromagnetic interference. These readings, she muttered, fingers flying across her keyboard. The energy signatures match classified research I glimpsed during my university days. Quantum communication arrays, but on a scale that shouldn't exist yet. Kevin's security monitors showed new heat signatures emerging from hidden access points around the shelter's perimeter. Not people this time. Automated systems rising. From concealment like mechanical flowers opening to the sun. Laura Mitchell recognized them from her military training, though these were far more advanced than anything she'd encountered. Containment protocols, she explained grimly, watching the pattern unfold on Kevin's screens. They're not just trying to keep us in, they're creating an electromagnetic dead zone, no signals in or out. Her phone display flickered and died, confirming her assessment. Jenny rushed to her computer, fighting to maintain their data upload to secure servers. Connections failing, she reported, fingers racing against time. 30 seconds, maybe less. The progress bar crawled across her screen, each percentage point a small victory against the closing net. Sarah Collins pointed her cameras at the emerging security measures, documenting everything while she still could. The world needs to... See this, she insisted. Though her own devices were rapidly losing connectivity, they can't just bury something this big. Through the isolation ward window, they watched Luna gather her puppies closer, their synchronized glow taking on new patterns. The German Shepherd's military training showed in her positioning, protecting her litter while maintaining clear sightlines to all approaches. But there was something else in her bearing now, a sense of anticipation. "Look at the floor markings," Emily Parker called out suddenly. Where the puppy's light touched the concrete, faint lines became visible. Geometric patterns that had been invisible under normal illumination. Kevin's tablet, running on emergency power, mapped the emerging design. It's not just under us, he realized, overlaying the satellite imagery of the underground complex. The shelter isn't just built near their facility, it's part of it. These patterns, their access points, emergency protocols built into the structure itself. Mike O'Brien, who had been coordinating with their volunteer network, burst into the room. "We've lost contact with our outside spotters, but before communications went down, they reported more vehicles arriving. Military grade, but unmarked. Whatever's coming, it's coming soon." The vibrations intensified, and with them came a sound, just below the threshold of hearing, a hum that set teeth on edge and made the air feel thick with potential. Patricia's equipment registered massive power fluctuations from beneath the shelter. "They're spinning up something big down there," she warned. "Energy readings are off the charts." Mark turned to Laura, whose tactical experience had kept them ahead of their pursuers so far. "Options?" She studied the security feeds, mind racing through scenarios. "They'll breach from multiple points, trying to overwhelm us with numbers. Standard tactics would be to use the automated systems to herd us away from Luna and the puppies, then extract them while we're contained." "But Luna isn't just a military asset," Jenny interjected, watching the German Shepherd's purposeful movements. "She chose to come here, these patterns she's revealing. What if this was her mission all along?" The thought hung in the air as they processed its implications. Luna hadn't randomly wandered to their shelter. She hadn't simply escaped her handlers. She had deliberately sought out this location, carrying her precious cargo of puppies and encoded information to the one place where everything could be revealed. Patricia's voice cut through their speculation. "The puppy's bioluminescence. It's changing. Not just the patterns, but the frequency." Her equipment showed new data streaming across the screen. They're not just responding to the facility's activation, they're interacting with it. As if to confirm her observation, the geometric patterns on the floor began to glow, matching. The puppy's light pulse for pulse. Luna barked once, sharp and clear, and the lines brightened further. Hidden seams appeared in the seemingly solid concrete, describing doorways and passages that shouldn't exist. "It's a key," Kevin breathed, understanding dawning. "The genetic modifications, the bioluminescence. They're not just for carrying information, they're for accessing these facilities. living keys to unlock classified installations. The implications staggered them. Not just enhanced animals, not just coded messages, but biological access systems. The ability to hide top-secret facilities in plain sight, accessible only to specifically engineered living beings. The military applications were endless and terrifying. Outside, the containment team had finished establishing their perimeter. Their shelter, once a place of hope and healing, had become the center of a classified operation's worst nightmare. A compromised facility, exposed secrets and witnesses who understood too much. Jenny's computer sputtered out its last connection, the upload freezing at 97%, but a small light on her screen suggested at least some of their documentation had made it to secure servers. Whether it would be enough, whether anyone would be able to access it through the electromagnetic blackout, remained to be seen. Laura's military intelligence contact had warned them about Project Luminous Guardian, but even he hadn't known its full scope. This wasn't just about enhanced military animals or coded messages. It was about creating living keys to a hidden world of classified installations. A network of secret facilities hidden beneath ordinary buildings, waiting for the right combination of genetic markers and bioluminescent signals to reveal themselves. The vibrations changed pitch, and new patterns appeared on the floor, pathways leading to previously invisible access points. Luna watched them intently, her puppy's glow synchronizing with the emerging grid. She had brought them exactly where they needed to be, but for what purpose? "We need to make a decision," Mark said quietly, looking at each person in turn. "Whatever's down there, whatever Luna's trying to show us, it's why she came here. But accessing it means committing ourselves to something we don't fully understand." Sarah checked her cameras, though their wireless functions had died. "At least we've documented everything up to this point. If anything happens to us, there's proof out there. Proof of what they've done, what they're trying to hide." The containment team's first attempts to breach the shelter's outer doors echoed through the building. Their time for discussion was running out, but as they looked at Luna and her extraordinary puppies, at the hidden passages being revealed by their unique light, they realized they'd made their choice the moment they decided to protect these remarkable beings. Patricia's equipment registered new energy signatures as more systems activated beneath them. "Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now. These power levels, they're building towards something big." Laura checked her weapons and nodded toward the newly revealed passages. Standard operating procedure would be to extract the assets, Luna and the puppies, then sanitize the facility, eliminate all evidence, all witnesses. She managed a grim smile. "So let's do something non-standard." The sound of breaching charges being set against the shelter's exterior doors added urgency to their situation, but Luna seemed unconcerned, as if everything was proceeding according to some plan only she understood. Her puppy's glow had settled into a steady rhythm, illuminating the geometric patterns that would guide them into the unknown. Mark knelt beside the German shepherd, meeting her intelligent gaze. "You knew, didn't you? You came here because you knew what was hidden here, what you could reveal with your puppy's special abilities." Luna's tail wagged once, her eyes conveying an almost human understanding. The wall-mounted emergency lights flickered as power was diverted to unknown systems deep below. Their shelter, built to protect and heal, had become the doorway to something extraordinary. As the first breaching charges detonated against the outer doors, they made their choice. Together, they stepped onto the glowing pathways, following Luna and her luminescent puppies into the hidden heart of Project Luminous Guardian. The hidden passage descended beneath Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven in a gentle spiral, its walls lined with softly glowing panels that responded to the puppy's bioluminescence. Luna led their small group confidently, her paw steps sure despite the unfamiliar terrain. The sound of breaching charges above grew muffled as they ventured deeper, replaced by the quiet hum of advanced machinery. Patricia Chen's portable equipment, still functioning despite the electromagnetic interference, registered increasingly complex energy signatures. "These readings suggest quantum computing architecture," she whispered, her scientific curiosity warring with apprehension. "But the scale, it's unprecedented." The passage opened into a vast chamber that defied their expectations of an underground facility. Instead of harsh industrial infrastructure, they found themselves in what appeared to be a biological research center merged with a data processing hub. Living tissue interfaced seamlessly with advanced technology, creating an environment that blurred the line between natural and artificial. Kevin's tablet, specially shielded against interference, mapped their surroundings. "The complex extends for miles in every direction," he reported, watching new sections appear on his display. "These aren't just research labs, it's an entire hidden infrastructure. And look at these power readings. Whatever they're doing down here, it's massive." Laura Mitchell moved with practiced caution, her police and military training evident in every step. "These security systems," she observed, studying the unusual arrangements of sensors and barriers, "they're not designed to keep people out. They're meant to keep something in." Luna paused at an intersection of corridors, her puppies clustering around her feet. Their combined glow activated new patterns in the floor and walls, revealing doorways that appeared to respond specifically to their unique genetic signatures. One puppy stepped forward, its light pulsing in a distinct rhythm, and a previously invisible entrance materialized. "It's not just access control," Jenny realized, watching the interaction. "The whole facility is designed to be navigated by beings with their specific capabilities. Traditional security measures would be useless. You'd need genetically engineered creatures just to find your way around." Mark approached one of the living walls, his veterinary training helping him recognize patterns in its organic components. These tissues, they're derived from multiple species, modified, enhanced, integrated with the technology. Whatever Project Luminous Guardian is, it's more than just enhanced military animals. Sarah Collins documented everything with her backup camera, its specialized storage ensuring their discoveries wouldn't be lost. "The public needs to know about this," she said softly, though her voice carried notes of uncertainty. "But how do we even begin to explain what we're seeing?" The chamber they occupied suddenly hummed with increased activity. Displays they hadn't noticed began activating, responding to the puppy's presence. Three-dimensional holograms materialized, showing complex molecular structures and data streams that seemed to flow like living things through the facility's hybrid architecture. Patricia's eyes widened as she interpreted the data. "This isn't just research," she breathed, understanding dawning. "They're not trying to create enhanced animals. They're developing a new form of intelligence, organic quantum computing using living tissue as both processor and storage medium." Luna barked once, the sound echoing strangely in the vast space. Her puppies responded with synchronized pulses of light that interfaced directly with the facility's systems. Information began, flowing across the displays, revealing the true scope of Project Luminous Guardian. They found a way to encode massive amounts of data into living DNA, Patricia explained, watching the process unfold. But not just storage, actual processing. These creatures can perform quantum calculations using their modified genetic structure. They're living computers, but with consciousness, with free will. Mike O'Brien, who had been quietly observing, pointed to new movements on Kevin's security feed. "They're following us down, multiple teams, moving fast. They know exactly where we're going." "Because they built this place," Laura responded grimly. "But they didn't expect Luna to make it here with her puppies." Look at these security protocols. They're designed to contain test subjects, not deal with successful specimens acting independently. The implications stunned them into momentary silence. Luna hadn't just escaped, she had evolved beyond her. Programming. Instead of being a simple test subject or military asset, she had become something new, a conscious being capable of understanding her own significance and making decisions about how to use her capabilities. Emily Parker, who had remained close to the puppies throughout their descent, noticed something remarkable. The way they're interacting with the facility. It's changing them. Their glow is getting stronger, more controlled. They're learning. Above them, the sounds of pursuit grew closer. The containment teams would have access to facility blueprints, legitimate security protocols. But Luna was offering them a different path, one that only beings with her specific modifications could access. "We need to move," Laura urged, checking their limited options. "Whatever Luna's trying to show us, we need to see it before they catch up." The German Shepherd was already moving, leading them deeper into the complex through passages that seemed to form around them, guided by the puppies' evolving bioluminescence. Each new chamber revealed more about the true nature of Project Luminous Guardian. Not just a military program, but an attempt to create a new form of intelligence, one that merged biological consciousness with quantum computing capabilities. "The ethical implications alone are staggering," Patricia commented as they moved. "Creating conscious beings designed to process and store classified data. Where does the information end and the individual begin?" The facility's hybrid architecture continued to respond to their presence, particularly to the puppies' developing abilities. Walls shifted, security systems adapted, and new pathways emerged. It was as if the entire complex was designed to evolve alongside its intended inhabitants. "Look at these research logs," Jenny called out, accessing a terminal that had activated in response to their presence. They didn't just modify existing animals, they designed these beings from the ground up. Luna and her puppies represent a completely new form of life. Mark watched the puppies investigating their surroundings, their behavior showing both natural curiosity and unprecedented intelligence. "They're not just carrying classified information," he realized. "They're processing it, understanding it, making decisions about how to use it." Luna led them to what appeared to be the facility's central chamber. Here, the merger of biological and technological systems reached its peak. The walls pulsed with living energy. Displays showed cascading data streams that mimicked neural patterns. And at the center stood a structure that defied easy description, part quantum computer, part organic matrix. "This is it," Patricia breathed, her equipment registering unprecedented energy signatures, the culmination of Project Luminous Guardian. They found a way to create organic quantum processors, living beings capable of handling calculations that would overwhelm any conventional computer. Sarah's camera captured the moment Luna approached the central structure. The German Shepherd's posture showed no fear, only purpose. Her puppies arranged themselves in a precise pattern around her, their combined bioluminescence interfacing directly with the facility's core systems. "She's not just accessing it," Kevin realized, watching the data flows on his tablet. "She's awakening it. The whole facility, it was waiting for them, waiting for beings capable of fully interfacing with its systems." The chamber hummed with increasing power as Luna and her puppies established deeper connections with the core. Information began flowing at unprecedented rates, but not just raw data. This was processed, analyzed, understood. The puppies' glow pulsed with new patterns, suggesting they were not just transmitting information, but actively participating in its interpretation. "They're not just the key to accessing this place," Laura said softly, understanding dawning. "They're its intended inheritors, the next step in the project's evolution. Above them, the containment teams were getting closer, but their urgency suddenly seemed misplaced. Whatever they hoped to contain had already evolved beyond their control. Luna and her puppies represented something unprecedented. Conscious beings capable of quantum computation, making independent decisions about the classified information they carried. The central chamber's displays showed the true scope of Project Luminous Guardian unfolding before them. Not just military applications, but the potential for a new form of intelligence, one that could bridge the gap between organic consciousness and quantum computing. Luna had brought them here not just to reveal this truth, but to ensure it couldn't be buried again. The central chamber of Project Luminous Guardian thrummed with energy as Luna and her puppies established deeper connections with its hybrid systems. The air itself seemed charged with possibility, as streams of quantum data flowed through biological pathways, creating patterns of light and information that defied conventional understanding. Dr. Patricia Chen's equipment struggled to process the readings, its displays flickering with unprecedented energy signatures. These neural interfaces, Patricia murmured, studying the complex interaction between the puppies and the facility's core. They're not just receiving data, they're actively restructuring it, creating new pathways, new possibilities. Her scientific detachment cracked slightly as she watched one puppy interact with a floating hologram, its bioluminescence causing the display to transform and evolve. Mark Anderson moved closer to Luna, his veterinary instincts noting subtle changes in her physiology. The German Shepherd's muscles rippled with newfound energy, her fur taking on an almost metallic sheen where it interfaced with the facility's bio-quantum field. The classified data flowing through her enhanced genetic structure wasn't just information anymore. It was becoming part of her, changing her in ways they were only beginning to understand. Jenny Martinez accessed another terminal that had activated in response to their presence, her fingers flying across its organic interface. "The project logs," she called out, eyes widening as she read. "They didn't just want to create living, quantum computers. They were trying to develop a new form of consciousness entirely, one that could bridge the gap between organic life and pure information." Laura Mitchell's tactical training kept her attention divided between the remarkable scene unfolding before them and the approaching threat above. "Multiple teams converging," she reported, checking the security feeds on Kevin's tablet. "They're using prototype quantum scanners, trying to track Luna's unique signature." She paused, noting something odd about their movement patterns. But something's interfering with their equipment. Kevin Thompson adjusted his tablet settings, revealing new layers of data flowing through the facility's architecture. "It's not interference," he realized, watching the patterns shift. "The puppies, they're actively scrambling the quantum signatures. Everything they learned since birth, they're applying it instinctively." Sarah Collins captured the moment. One puppy approached the central core, its gentle glow intensifying as it made contact. The organic technological matrix responded instantly, sprouting new connections that pulsed with shared bioluminescence. "They're not just accessing the system," she observed. "They're becoming part of it, expanding it." Emily Parker, who had developed an almost supernatural rapport with the animals at the shelter, noticed something in Luna's behavior that others had missed. "Look at her eyes," she whispered. "The way she's watching the puppies. She's not just proud, she's waiting for something specific." Mike O'Brien's security experience helped him recognize the tactical implications. "Whatever's about to happen," he said quietly, "those teams upstairs won't be able to stop it. We're past the point of containment." The facility's hybrid architecture continued to evolve around them, responding to the growing connection between Luna's family and its systems. Walls that had seemed solid became permeable membranes of light and data. Corridors shifted and reformed, creating new spaces that existed somewhere between physical reality and quantum possibility. Patricia's equipment registered another surge of activity, this one different from the others. "The quantum field is stabilizing," she reported, watching her displays with growing amazement. "But not just here. It's extending outward, connecting to something else, other facilities maybe, places we can't see." Luna barked once, the sound carrying harmonics that interfaced directly with the facility's systems. Her puppies responded in kind, their combined bioluminescence creating patterns that seemed to fold space itself. The central chamber's displays, filled with new information, not just military data or research logs, but something far more profound. "It's a message," Jenny breathed, watching the patterns resolve into coherent form. Not just classified information, a warning about something they found during the quantum computing experiments, something that changed everything. The approaching containment teams had reached the upper levels of the facility, their quantum scanning equipment struggling against the puppy's natural interference. But Luna showed no sign of concern. If anything, her posture suggested mounting anticipation, as if everything was proceeding according to some plan they were only beginning to glimpse. Laura studied the tactical displays with growing concern. "They're not just trying to contain us," she realized. "They're trying to prevent something specific, something they think is about to happen." The central core's organic components pulsed with increasing energy as Luna guided her puppies through what appeared to be a precisely choreographed sequence of interactions. Each touch, each pulse of bioluminescence contributed to a growing pattern that extended far beyond the facility's physical boundaries. "The quantum field," Patricia explained, her voice filled with wonder. "It's not just connecting to other facilities, it's creating new connections, pathways that exist outside normal space-time." She adjusted her equipment, trying to track the expanding phenomenon. Whatever Luna discovered, whatever she's trying to show us, it's bigger than military, secrets, or classified research. Mark watched as one puppy after another interfaced with different aspects of the central core, their unique genetic modifications allowing them to access and process quantum data in ways that shouldn't have been possible. "They're not just test subjects that exceeded expectations," he said slowly. "There's something entirely new, a bridge between what we are and what we might become." The facility's displays filled with cascading information, glimpses of other research sites, other experiments, other attempts to merge biological consciousness with quantum computing. But Luna's puppies represented something unprecedented, beings born with these capabilities, naturally able to exist in both physical and quantum states. Sarah's camera captured the moment the pattern began to stabilize, a network of quantum connections extending outward from their location, linking to similar nodes hidden beneath seemingly ordinary places around the world. They built all of this, she realized, this whole network of secret facilities, just waiting for beings capable of actually using them. Jenny's analysis of the project logs revealed deeper layers of truth. The original goal was military application, she reported, scanning through encrypted files that responded to the puppy's presence. But they discovered something else during the experiments, something that changed the project's entire purpose. Laura's tactical experience helped her recognize the significance of the containment team's deployment pattern. They're not just trying to contain the puppies or the information they carry, she said grimly. They're trying to prevent some kind of activation sequence, something they think we're about to trigger. The chamber's quantum field continued to expand and stabilize as Luna guided her puppies through their complex interaction with the core systems. Each new connection added to the growing network, creating pathways that existed simultaneously in physical space and quantum reality. "Look at these energy signatures," Patricia called out, her equipment registering unprecedented patterns. They're not just processing quantum data anymore, they're creating new states of matter, new possibilities for how information and consciousness can interact. Kevin's security systems tracked the approaching teams, but their progress had slowed significantly. The quantum interference generated by the puppies made conventional scanning impossible, and the facility's shifting architecture responded only to specific genetic signatures. They're sealing themselves off, Emily realized, watching new barriers form between them and their pursuers. Not just physically, they're creating quantum boundaries that only they can cross. The central chamber's displays showed the full scope of Project Luminous Guardian's evolution, from military experiment to something far more profound. Luna and her puppies weren't just carrying classified information, they represented the next step in consciousness itself, bridging the gap between organic life and quantum reality. Mike noticed something changing in the puppies' behavior, a new confidence, a deeper understanding of their own capabilities. They're not just learning to use these systems, he observed. They're teaching them how to evolve, how to grow beyond their original purpose. Luna's posture shifted subtly as the quantum network approached some critical threshold. Her puppies moved with increasing precision, their bioluminescence creating patterns that seemed to reshape reality itself. Whatever message they carried, whatever warning they needed to convey, the moment of revelation was approaching. The facility's hybrid architecture pulsed with anticipation as organic and technological systems merged more completely. Above them, the containment teams faced an impossible task, trying to contain beings that could exist simultaneously in physical space and quantum reality. Beings that represented not just a security breach, but a fundamental change in what was possible. In the chamber's quantum-enhanced atmosphere, where data flowed like light and consciousness expanded beyond normal limits, Luna prepared to reveal the truth she had carried within her enhanced genetics. A truth about quantum reality, about consciousness itself, and about the choices that would shape humanity's future. Time seemed to slow in the quantum-enhanced atmosphere of Project Luminous Guardian's central chamber as Luna prepared to reveal the truth she had carried within her enhanced genetics. The facility's hybrid architecture thrummed with anticipation, organic and technological systems merging more completely as the German Shepherd's puppies maintained their complex interface with the core. Patricia Chen's scientific discipline wavered as she witnessed something that defied conventional understanding. The quantum field generated by Luna and her offspring had stabilized into what appeared to be a new state of matter, one that existed simultaneously in physical space and quantum reality. Her equipment registered changes that shouldn't have been possible, energy patterns that suggested consciousness itself was being transformed. The quantum network, she breathed, watching new connections form and stabilize. It's not just linking different facilities, it's creating a new framework for reality itself. Her displays showed energy signatures propagating outward, touching similar nodes hidden beneath seemingly ordinary locations worldwide. Mark Anderson's veterinary training helped him recognize subtle changes in the puppy's physiology as they deepened their connection with the facility's systems. Their bioluminescence had evolved beyond simple light emission, becoming a complex language of quantum information. Each pulse carried meaning that existed beyond conventional physics, suggesting possibilities that blurred the line between organic life and pure energy. Jenny Martinez accessed newly revealed data streams, her eyes widening as she decoded the information. The original project goals were military, she reported, scanning through files that responded to the puppy's presence. But they discovered something during the quantum computing experiments, something that changed everything. Laura Mitchell's tactical experience recognized the significance of the containment team's increasingly desperate attempts to breach their position. They're not just trying to prevent information from leaking, she realized, studying the security feeds. They're trying to stop whatever transformation Luna is initiating. The chamber's displays filled with cascading data as Luna guided her puppies through precisely choreographed interactions with the core systems. Images formed in the quantum-enhanced space, glimpses of other experiments, other attempts to merge. Consciousness with quantum computing. But something else emerged, warnings about discoveries that had been deliberately buried. Sarah Collins documented everything with her specialized camera, capturing the moment one puppy's interaction with the central core triggered a new level of revelation. The organic technological matrix sprouted connections that pulsed with shared consciousness, creating windows into possibilities that existed beyond normal perception. "Look at these research logs," Kevin Thompson called out, his tablet interfacing with newly accessible systems. The quantum computing experiments. They didn't just process data, they touched something else, something that existed in the spaces between conventional reality. Emily Parker, whose intuitive connection with animals had grown stronger in the quantum-enhanced environment, sensed purpose in Luna's careful orchestration. "She's not just showing us technology or military secrets," she observed. "She's trying to prepare us for something. Something they found on the other side of the quantum barrier." Mike O'Brien's security background helped him understand the tactical implications of what was unfolding. "Whatever they discovered," he said grimly, "it was significant enough to transform a military project into something else entirely. Something they thought was worth hiding beneath every major population center." The facility's hybrid architecture continued evolving, responding to the expanding quantum field generated by Luna and her puppies. Walls became permeable membranes of light and information, allowing glimpses of other realities that existed alongside their own. The central chamber itself seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, each one offering different perspectives on the truth Luna carried. Patricia's equipment registered another surge of activity as the quantum network approached critical mass. "The energy patterns," she reported, watching her displays with growing amazement. "They're not just creating new connections, they're opening doorways to something else, something that exists beyond our understanding of physics." Laura tracked the containment team's progress through the facility's shifting architecture. Their quantum scanning equipment, designed to track Luna's unique signature, struggled against the interference generated by the puppy's evolved capabilities. But it wasn't just technical difficulties slowing their advance. The facility itself seemed to be responding to Luna's intentions, creating barriers that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. The project logs mentioned something called quantum consciousness, Jenny announced, decoding another layer of classified information. They theorized that consciousness itself might be a quantum phenomenon, one that could be enhanced and expanded through the right combinations of genetic modification and technological interface. Mark watched as Luna's puppies demonstrated abilities that went beyond their original programming. Their bioluminescence didn't just carry information. It shaped reality itself, creating spaces where quantum possibilities could stabilize into new forms of existence. Each interaction with the facility's systems expanded their capabilities, suggesting growth that had no theoretical limits. Sarah's camera captured the moment the quantum field began manifesting visible effects in normal space. Colors that shouldn't exist flickered at the edges of perception. Sounds carried harmonics that seemed to originate from other dimensions. The very air sparkled with possibilities that conventional physics couldn't explain. "These energy signatures," Patricia called out, her equipment struggling to process new readings. "They're not just quantum effects anymore. There's something else entirely, something that exists between states of matter, between moments of time. The central chamber's displays showed the full scope of Project Luminous Guardian's evolution. From military experiment to accidental contact with something beyond human understanding. Luna and her puppies weren't just carrying classified information or demonstrating enhanced capabilities. They represented a bridge between conventional reality and whatever existed on the other side of the quantum barrier. Kevin's security systems tracked multiple breaching attempts as the containment teams tried to access their position. But conventional tactics proved useless against beings that could exist in quantum superposition, moving between states of reality as easily as stepping through a doorway. The original researchers, Jenny reported, piecing together fragments of classified data. They thought they were developing living quantum computers, but what they actually created was a doorway, and something noticed when they opened it. Luna's posture shifted subtly as the quantum network reached its critical threshold. Her puppies moved with perfect coordination, their combined bioluminescence creating patterns that seemed to fold space itself. The facility's hybrid systems responded to their guidance, organic and technological components, merging more completely as reality prepared to transform. The chamber's quantum-enhanced atmosphere crackled with potential as Luna prepared to reveal the final truth, not just about military secrets or classified research, but about the nature of consciousness itself, about discoveries that had forced the project to evolve from weapon development to something far more profound, preparation for contact with whatever existed beyond the quantum barrier. Above them, the containment teams faced an impossible task, now trying to prevent the emergence of something they couldn't understand or control, beings that could exist simultaneously in multiple states of reality, carrying messages from dimensions that conventional science couldn't explain. Patricia's equipment registered changes that defied analysis as the quantum field stabilized into new configurations. "Whatever they discovered," she whispered, watching reality itself begin to shift, "whatever exists on the other side, it's been waiting for beings capable of bridging the gap, waiting for exactly this moment." The facility's displays filled with urgent data as Luna guided her puppies through the final stages of their revelation. Each pulse of bioluminescence carried meaning that transcended normal physics, each interaction with the core systems bringing them closer to something that would change everything they thought they knew about reality itself. Reality shimmered within Project Luminous Guardian's central chamber as Luna initiated the final sequence of her revelation. The quantum field generated by her puppies had transformed the space into something that existed between conventional states of matter, creating an environment where consciousness itself could expand beyond normal limitations. Patricia Chen's equipment registered changes that suggested the very fabric of space-time was being altered at a fundamental level. Through the quantum-enhanced atmosphere, glimpses of other realities flickered at the edges of perception. The facility's hybrid architecture had evolved beyond its original design, becoming a living interface between different states of existence. Mark Anderson watched in amazement as Luna guided her puppies through movements that seemed to fold. Space itself, their bioluminescence creating patterns that rewrote the rules of physics. "The quantum barrier," Patricia breathed, her scientific training struggling to process what her instruments revealed. "It's not just a theoretical construct. It's a membrane between different layers of reality, and they've found a way to move through it." Her displays showed energy signatures that suggested consciousness could exist in multiple states simultaneously, transcending conventional boundaries between mind and matter. Jenny Martinez accessed newly revealed data streams that poured from the facility's core systems, The original breakthrough, she reported, decoding information that responded to the puppy's presence. It happened by accident. They were trying to create quantum processors using modified genetic material, but something responded from the other side, something that had been waiting for beings capable of making contact. Laura Mitchell's tactical experience recognized the significance of the containment team's increasingly erratic behavior. Their quantum scanning equipment had begun registering readings that drove the sensors into overload, suggesting reality itself was becoming unstable around their position. They're not just trying to prevent a security breach, she realized. They're trying to stop an emergence, something crossing over. The chamber's displays filled with urgent data as Luna's puppies maintained their complex interface with the core systems. Each pulse of their evolved bioluminescence carried meaning that transcended normal physics, creating windows into possibilities that existed beyond conventional understanding. Sarah Collins documented everything with her specialized camera, capturing moments when multiple states of reality seemed to overlay each other. These research logs, Kevin Thompson called out, his tablet interfacing with newly accessible systems. They detail what happened when the first contact occurred. The quantum experiments didn't just process information. They attracted attention from something that existed in the spaces between realities, something that recognized potential in modified consciousness. Emily Parker's intuitive connection with animals had strengthened in the quantum-enhanced environment, allowing her to sense purpose in Luna's careful orchestration. She's not just carrying information, she observed, watching the German Shepherd guide her puppies through precise movements. She's preparing us for contact, showing us what we need to understand before they arrive. Mike O'Brien's security background helped him grasp the tactical implications of what was unfolding. The whole network, he said grimly, studying newly revealed data about hidden facilities worldwide. It wasn't built for military purposes. It was created as a reception grid. They've been preparing for this moment since the first contact. The facility's hybrid architecture continued evolving as the quantum field stabilized into new configurations. Walls became permeable membranes of possibility, allowing glimpses of other dimensions that existed alongside their own. The central chamber itself seemed to pulse with consciousness that transcended normal limitations of space and time. Patricia's equipment registered another surge of activity as Luna guided her puppies through the final stages of their revelation. The energy. Patterns, she reported, watching her displays with growing amazement. They're not just creating quantum effects. They're establishing stable channels between different states of reality, pathways that consciousness can traverse in both directions. Laura tracked the containment team's desperate attempts to breach their position through the facility's shifting architecture. But conventional tactics proved useless against beings that could exist in quantum superposition, moving between states of reality as easily as stepping through a doorway. The very nature of space had become fluid around them, responding to the puppy's evolved capabilities. The original researchers, Jenny announced, decoding another layer of classified information. They thought they were pushing the boundaries of physics, but they actually discovered something fundamental about consciousness itself. It's not limited to one reality. It can exist in multiple states simultaneously, bridge different dimensions of existence. Mark watched as Luna's puppies demonstrated abilities that transcended their genetic modifications. Their bioluminescence didn't just carry information. It shaped reality itself, creating spaces where consciousness could expand beyond normal limitations. Each interaction with the facility's systems brought them closer to something that would change everything humanity thought it knew about existence. Sarah's camera captured the moment the quantum field began manifesting visible effects in normal space. Colors that shouldn't exist painted patterns through the air. Sounds carried harmonics that seemed to originate from other dimensions. The very atmosphere crackled with possibilities that conventional physics couldn't explain. "These readings," Patricia called out, her equipment struggling to process new data. "The quantum field isn't just connecting different locations, it's creating stable interfaces between different states of consciousness, between different layers of reality itself." The central chamber's displays showed the full scope of what Project Luminous Guardian had discovered. Not just new technology or military applications, but fundamental truths about the nature of existence. Luna and her puppies weren't just carrying classified information. They represented the next step in consciousness evolution, beings capable of bridging the gap between different states of reality. Kevin's security systems tracked multiple breaching attempts as the containment teams tried to prevent what was coming. But conventional forces proved powerless against beings that could exist in quantum superposition, moving between states of existence as easily as stepping between rooms. "The project's evolution," Jenny reported, piecing together fragments of classified data. "It wasn't driven by military goals. Everything they did, every modification and enhancement, was guided by something that understood what consciousness could become, something that had been waiting for beings capable of making real contact." Luna's posture shifted subtly as the quantum network reached its final configuration. Her puppies moved with perfect coordination, their combined bioluminescence creating patterns that seemed to reach between different layers of reality. The facility's hybrid systems responded to their guidance, organic and technological components, merging completely as space itself prepared to transform. The chamber's quantum-enhanced atmosphere crackled with potential as Luna prepared to reveal the ultimate truth. Not just about military secrets or classified research, but about humanity's place in a multiverse of consciousness. About discoveries that had forced the project to evolve from weapon development to preparation for contact with intelligences that existed beyond conventional reality. Above them, the containment teams faced an impossible task, trying to prevent the emergence of something they couldn't understand or control, beings that could exist simultaneously in multiple states of reality, carrying messages from dimensions that conventional science couldn't explain. Patricia's equipment registered changes that defied analysis as the quantum field stabilized into its final form. "Whatever exists on the other side," she whispered, watching reality itself begin to shift. "Whatever has been waiting for beings capable of bridging the gap, they're here. The contact is beginning." The facility's displays filled with urgent data as Luna guided her puppies through the final moments before revelation. Each pulse of bioluminescence carried meaning that transcended normal physics, each interaction with the core systems bringing them closer to something that would transform humanity's understanding of consciousness, reality, and its place in the infinite layers of existence. The moment of contact transformed everything within Project Luminous Guardian's central chamber. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as Luna's puppies completed their complex interaction with the facility's core systems. The quantum field they had generated stabilized into something entirely new, a state of existence where consciousness could flow freely between different dimensions of reality. Patricia Chen's equipment registered changes that suggested the fundamental nature of space-time was being rewritten at a quantum level. Through the quantum-enhanced atmosphere, the first clear signs of contact began to manifest. Not as physical forms or conventional energy signatures, but as patterns of pure consciousness that interacted directly with the enhanced awareness Luna and her puppies had developed. The facility's hybrid architecture responded to their presence, evolving into configurations that defied conventional physics. The quantum resonance, Patricia breathed, watching her displays show impossible readings. It's not just allowing communication between different states of reality. It's creating a new type of space where consciousness itself becomes the primary medium of existence. Her instruments detected energy patterns that suggested awareness could exist independently of physical form, flowing between different layers of reality like light through crystal. Jenny Martinez accessed streams of data that poured from the facility's newly awakened systems. "The first contact changed everything," she reported, decoding information that responded to the visitor's presence. "They weren't hostile or invasive. They were waiting for us to develop beings capable of true quantum consciousness, minds that could exist in multiple states simultaneously." Laura Mitchell's tactical training struggled to process what her eyes were telling her. The containment team's quantum scanning equipment had begun registering patterns that suggested reality itself was becoming permeable, allowing different states of existence to overlap and interact. They never had a chance of stopping this, she realized. You can't contain something that exists in all possible states simultaneously. The chamber's displays filled with new forms of data as the visitors established deeper connections through Luna and her puppies. Information flowed not as conventional signals, but as pure patterns of awareness, creating understanding that transcended normal limitations of knowledge and comprehension. Sarah Collins documented everything with her specialized camera, capturing moments when multiple layers of reality seemed to coexist in perfect harmony. "These readings," Kevin Thompson called out, his tablet interfacing with systems that had evolved beyond their original design. "They're not just showing quantum effects anymore. They're recording the emergence of a new form of existence, one where consciousness and reality are fundamentally inseparable." Emily Parker's connection with animals had evolved in the quantum-enhanced environment, allowing her to sense the visitor's true nature. "They're not here to invade or conquer," she observed, watching Luna guide her puppies through their role as intermediaries. "They're here to share understanding, to show us what consciousness can become when it's freed from conventional limitations." Mike O'Brien's security perspective helped him grasp the implications of what was unfolding. "The entire project," he said softly, studying newly revealed data about the visitor's long involvement. "It wasn't about creating weapons or gathering intelligence. It was about preparing humanity for this moment, for contact with beings that exist as pure consciousness." The facility's architecture continued evolving as the quantum field expanded to accommodate the visitor's presence. Walls became windows into other dimensions, showing glimpses of realities where consciousness itself was the primary force shaping existence. The central chamber pulsed with awareness that transcended normal boundaries between mind and matter. Patricia's equipment registered unprecedented activity as the visitors established stable connections through Luna's enhanced genetics. "The energy patterns," she reported, watching her displays with growing understanding. "They're not just creating pathways between different states of reality. They're showing us how consciousness can evolve beyond physical limitations, how it can exist in all possible states simultaneously." Laura tracked the containment team's increasingly futile attempts to breach their position through the facility's transformed architecture. But conventional forces proved meaningless against beings that existed as pure consciousness, moving between different states of reality as naturally as thought flows between moments of awareness. The very nature of space had become fluid, responding to the presence of minds that transcended physical form. "The original contact," Jenny announced, decoding another layer of revealed information. "It wasn't an accident. They were guiding us, helping us understand how to modify genetics and consciousness to create beings capable of true quantum awareness. Luna and her puppies are just the first step. proof that consciousness can evolve beyond conventional limitations. Mark watched as Luna's puppies demonstrated abilities that showed the true potential of enhanced awareness. Their bioluminescence had evolved beyond simple communication, becoming a medium through which pure consciousness could flow between different states of existence. Each interaction with the visitors brought new understanding of what awareness could become when freed from physical constraints. Sarah's camera captured the moment the visitors began sharing their true nature through the quantum field. Colors that existed beyond normal perception painted stories of realities where consciousness shaped existence directly. Sounds carried meanings that transcended conventional language, speaking directly to awareness itself. These patterns, Patricia called out, her equipment struggling to process the complexity of what was emerging. They're not just showing us other realities, they're teaching us how consciousness can exist in all possible states simultaneously, how awareness itself can transcend the limitations of physical existence. The central chamber's displays showed the full scope of what Project Luminous Guardian had discovered, not just contact with other forms of consciousness, but fundamental truths about the nature of existence itself. Luna and her puppies represented the first step toward a new form of awareness, beings capable of bridging the gap between physical reality and pure consciousness. Kevin's security systems tracked the containment team's final attempts to prevent what was already unfolding. But conventional forces held no power against beings that existed as pure awareness, moving through different states of reality as easily as light passes through air. The project's true purpose, Jenny reported, understanding flowing through newly revealed data. It wasn't about creating enhanced animals or developing new weapons. It was about preparing humanity for the next step in conscious evolution, showing us what awareness can become when it transcends physical form. Luna's presence radiated calm certainty as the quantum network reached its full potential. Her puppies moved with perfect understanding, their combined consciousness creating patterns that opened windows into infinite possibilities of existence. The facility's systems responded to their guidance, organic and technological components merging completely as reality itself prepared to evolve. The chamber's quantum-enhanced atmosphere crackled with potential as the visitors began sharing their accumulated wisdom, not just about technology or physics, but about the true nature of consciousness and its role in shaping reality. About discoveries that showed awareness itself was the fundamental force behind existence, capable of transcending all conventional limitations. Above them, the containment teams faced the futility of trying to prevent something that existed beyond physical form. The visitors moved through reality as pure consciousness, sharing understanding that would transform humanity's perception of existence itself. Patricia's equipment registered changes that suggested reality was evolving to accommodate new forms of awareness. "This is just the beginning," she whispered, watching consciousness and existence merge in ways that transcended conventional understanding. "They're showing us what we can become when we let go of physical limitations." The facility's displays filled with patterns of pure consciousness as Luna guided her puppies through their role as intermediaries. Each moment brought new understanding of what awareness could achieve when freed from conventional constraints. Each interaction showing glimpses of realities where consciousness shaped existence directly. The physical world began reshaping itself around the new reality that Luna and her puppies had helped reveal. Within Project Luminous Guardian's transformed central chamber, awareness flowed like light between different states of existence. The visitor's presence had changed everything, not through force or invasion, but through the simple act of sharing understanding that transcended conventional physics. Mark Anderson watched in amazement as the puppies demonstrated their evolved capabilities, Their genetic modifications had created more than enhanced animals. They had become living bridges between physical reality and pure consciousness. Each pulse of their bioluminescence carried wisdom that transformed understanding itself, showing how awareness could exist beyond the limitations of matter and time. Patricia Chen's scientific equipment struggled to process the new patterns, emerging in the quantum field. The changes aren't just affecting the facility, she observed, studying readings that defied conventional analysis. They're rippling outward, touching every mind capable of sensing them. The visitors are sharing their knowledge through direct consciousness transfer. Jenny Martinez worked to document the flood of information pouring through the facility's evolved systems. The contact wasn't random, she reported, understanding flowing through newly accessible data streams. They've been guiding humanity's development for generations, waiting for the moment when we could create beings capable of true quantum consciousness. Laura Mitchell's tactical awareness expanded as the visitors shared their perspective on reality. The containment teams above had fallen silent, their equipment rendered meaningless by awareness that existed in all possible states simultaneously. They can't stop this, she realized. You can't contain an idea once it's been understood, and this is so much more than just an idea. The chamber's architecture continued evolving as the quantum field stabilized into its new configuration. Walls became windows into infinite possibilities, showing glimpses of realities where consciousness shaped existence directly. Sarah Collins captured everything with her specialized camera, recording the moment humanity's understanding of reality changed forever. These energy signatures, Kevin Thompson called out, his security systems adapting to process new forms of data. They're not just showing quantum effects anymore. They're recording the emergence of a new form of existence, one where consciousness itself is the primary force shaping reality. Emily Parker's connection with animals had deepened into something profound in the quantum-enhanced environment. The puppies aren't just carrying information, she observed, watching them interact with the visitors' pure consciousness. They're showing us what we can become when we let go of physical limitations, when we understand that awareness itself is the fundamental force of existence. Mike O'Brien's security perspective shifted as new understanding flowed through the quantum field. The project's evolution makes sense now, he said softly, studying data about humanity's guided development. Everything we've created, every advancement in technology and consciousness, it was all leading to this moment of shared awareness. The facility's hybrid systems pulsed with new forms of energy as Luna guided her puppies through their role as intermediaries. Their enhanced genetics had created pathways for consciousness to flow between different states of reality, allowing the visitors to share wisdom that transcended conventional knowledge. Patricia's equipment registered unprecedented patterns as the quantum field expanded beyond the facility's boundaries. The changes are accelerating, she reported, watching her displays show impossible readings. The visitors aren't just communicating, they're helping consciousness itself evolve beyond physical constraints. Laura tracked the rippling effects of contact spreading through the surrounding area. But instead of panic or chaos, the quantum field carried understanding that transformed fear into acceptance. The very nature of awareness was changing, adapting to accommodate new possibilities of existence. The original researchers, Jenny announced, decoding another layer of revealed information. They thought they were pushing the boundaries of science, but they were being guided toward this moment. Every breakthrough, every genetic modification, it was all preparation for contact with pure consciousness. Mark observed as Luna's puppies demonstrated abilities that showed the true potential of enhanced awareness. Their bioluminescence had evolved beyond simple communication, becoming a medium through which pure consciousness could flow between different states of existence. Each interaction with the visitors brought new understanding of what awareness could become. Sarah's camera captured the moment the quantum field began affecting the physical world in visible ways. Colors that existed beyond normal perception painted patterns of possibility through the air. Sounds carried meanings that spoke directly to consciousness itself, bypassing the limitations of conventional language. These readings, Patricia called out, her instruments detecting changes that defied conventional physics. The quantum field isn't just allowing communication between different states of reality. It's creating a new type of space where consciousness itself becomes the primary medium of existence. The central chamber's displays showed the full scope of what Project Luminous Guardian had achieved. Not just contact with advanced beings, but the beginning of humanity's evolution toward pure consciousness. Luna and her puppies represented the first step, proving that awareness could transcend physical limitations. Kevin's security systems adapted to process new forms of data as the visitors shared their accumulated wisdom. Traditional concepts of protection and containment became meaningless in the face of consciousness that could exist in all possible states simultaneously. The project's true purpose, Jenny reported, understanding flowing through transformed data streams. It wasn't about creating enhanced beings or developing new technologies. It was about preparing humanity for the next step in conscious evolution, showing us what awareness can become when it transcends physical form. Luna's presence radiated calm certainty as the quantum network expanded to encompass more of reality. Her puppies moved with perfect understanding, their combined consciousness creating patterns that opened windows into infinite possibilities of existence. The facility's systems responded to their guidance, organic and technological components merging completely as awareness itself prepared to evolve. The chamber's quantum-enhanced atmosphere crackled with potential as the visitors shared deeper truths about the nature of existence. Their wisdom flowed not through conventional communication, but through direct transfer of consciousness, showing how awareness itself shaped the fundamental fabric of reality. Above them, the containment teams faced the futility of trying to prevent something that existed beyond physical form. The visitors moved through reality as pure consciousness, sharing understanding that would transform humanity's perception of existence itself. Patricia's equipment registered changes that suggested consciousness was evolving to accommodate new forms of awareness. "This is just the beginning," she whispered, watching physical reality and pure consciousness merge in ways that transcended conventional understanding. "They're showing us what we can become when we embrace the true nature of existence." The facility's displays filled with patterns of pure consciousness as Luna guided her puppies through their role as intermediaries. Each moment brought new understanding of what awareness could achieve when freed from conventional constraints. Each interaction showing glimpses of realities where consciousness shaped existence directly. The physical world continued reshaping itself around the new possibilities that contact had revealed. Within Project Luminous Guardian's transformed central chamber, awareness flowed like light between different states of existence. The visitors' presence had changed everything, not through force or invasion, but through the simple act of sharing understanding that transcended conventional physics. Mark watched as the puppies demonstrated their evolved capabilities. Their genetic modifications had created more than enhanced animals. They had become living bridges between physical reality and pure consciousness. Each pulse of their bioluminescence carried wisdom that transformed understanding itself, showing how awareness could exist beyond the limitations of matter and time. Sunlight streamed through Riverbrook Valley Animal Haven's windows, casting golden patterns across the newly transformed space. 3 months had passed since the moment of contact, since Luna and her extraordinary puppies had helped bridge the gap between physical reality and pure consciousness. The world had changed in ways both subtle and profound, adapting to new possibilities that the visitors had shared. Mark Anderson stood in his office, watching Luna's puppies play in their special enclosure. Their bioluminescence had stabilized into gentle patterns that pulsed in harmony with the quantum field that now permeated reality. Each day brought new discoveries as they continued growing into their remarkable capabilities, showing humanity glimpses of what consciousness could become. Patricia Chen's research laboratory, established in the renovated shelter wing, hummed with activity as she studied the ongoing effects of contact. "The changes are still spreading," she observed, reviewing data from her enhanced equipment. "Not just in the puppies or the facility, but in every mind capable of sensing the quantum field. We're all evolving, learning to perceive reality in new ways." Jenny Martinez coordinated information flow between the shelter and the worldwide network of research centers that had emerged since contact. The formerly classified Project Luminous Guardian had transformed into an open source of knowledge, sharing understanding that helped humanity adapt to its expanding awareness. Laura Mitchell, now heading the shelter's new security protocols, had developed methods that protected through consciousness rather than force. The containment teams that once threatened them had evolved into research partners, studying how awareness itself could maintain harmony between different states of existence. The central chamber, preserved in its transformed state, served as a nexus for ongoing communication with the visitors. Sarah Collins documented each new development, sharing the story of humanity's evolution with an audience that grew more receptive to expanded consciousness each day. "The quantum network keeps growing stronger," Kevin Thompson reported, monitoring systems that tracked consciousness flow between different states of reality. "More people are learning to access it naturally, especially children. They're adapting to the new awareness faster than anyone expected." Emily Parker's animal communication programs had become a model for teaching enhanced consciousness techniques. "It starts with understanding," she explained to a group of eager students. "Once you realize that awareness itself shapes reality, the possibilities become endless." Mike O'Brien supervised construction of new facilities designed to accommodate evolving forms of existence. The shelter had become a center for consciousness research, attracting minds ready to explore reality's true nature. "Every day brings new discoveries," he noted, watching Luna guide her growing puppies through increasingly complex interactions with the quantum field. The world outside had changed too. Cities adapted to incorporate quantum architecture, creating spaces where consciousness could flow freely between different states of existence. Governments evolved to handle new forms of interaction, while education systems developed methods for teaching expanded awareness. Patricia's latest research showed promising developments in human consciousness evolution. "We're not just observing the changes anymore," she explained during a global conference broadcast. "We're actively participating in them, learning to exist in multiple states simultaneously, just like Luna's puppies showed us was possible." Laura's security teams had evolved into consciousness guides, helping others navigate the expanding possibilities of existence. The fear that once drove containment efforts had transformed into excitement about humanity's growing potential. "Understanding replaced control," she reflected, watching new arrivals discover their enhanced awareness. "The original contact was just the beginning," Jenny shared during a data exchange with global research centers. "The visitors showed us the path, but we're creating our own way forward now. Each discovery leads to new possibilities, new ways of existing beyond physical limitations." Mark worked closely with Luna's puppies, documenting their continued development as they mastered abilities that merged physical reality with pure consciousness. Their playful exploration of quantum possibilities showed how naturally enhanced awareness could evolve when guided by joy rather than fear. Sarah's documentation project had expanded into a global archive of consciousness evolution. "People need to see how far we've come," she explained, reviewing footage from those first moments of contact. "Not just the scientific advances, but the fundamental changes in how we understand existence itself. These energy patterns are remarkable," Patricia announced, studying new data from her quantum field sensors. "We're not just communicating through consciousness anymore. We're creating entirely new forms of existence, spaces where awareness itself shapes reality directly." The central chamber continued serving as a gateway for sharing wisdom between different states of existence. Luna's presence remained central to these interactions, her enhanced genetics proving that consciousness could evolve beyond conventional limitations while maintaining its essential nature. Kevin's monitoring systems tracked the spread of quantum awareness through conventional reality. "The integration is becoming seamless," he observed, watching consciousness flow naturally between different states of existence. "People are adapting to enhanced awareness as easily as learning a new language." Emily's intuitive connection with animals had deepened into profound understanding of how consciousness shaped all forms of existence. Her teaching methods helped others discover their own enhanced awareness, showing how natural the evolution of consciousness could be. Mike coordinated with global construction teams, developing new types of architecture designed to facilitate consciousness flow. "We're not just building structures anymore," he explained, reviewing plans for consciousness enhancement centers. "We're creating spaces where awareness itself can evolve freely." The facility's hybrid systems had stabilized into permanent quantum enhancement generators, maintaining spaces where consciousness could explore its true potential. Luna's puppies played crucial roles in these developments, their natural abilities showing how harmoniously enhanced awareness could integrate with physical reality. The world's transformation continued spreading outward from centers of enhanced consciousness like Riverbrook Valley. Each day brought new discoveries about what awareness could achieve when freed from conventional limitations. The visitors' wisdom had sparked an evolution that proceeded naturally, guided by growing understanding rather than external control. Mark watched Luna lead her puppies through another day of consciousness exploration, their bioluminescence painting possibilities through the quantum-enhanced air. The simple animal shelter had become something profound, a gateway to humanity's evolved future, where consciousness itself shaped the nature of existence. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.